Chapter 91, Wife Time. And became famous. You are listening at novelfull.audio. One day after the events of the game between Clan Horseman and Clan Rider, a pale-skinned woman with long white hair, wearing only a black nightgown, was sleeping in a king-size bed. The bed was completely messed up, as if several people were sleeping in it. The woman turns her body to the side and touches the bed as if looking for someone. Violet slowly opens her eyes. Darling. Realizing that Victor wasn't in bed, she quickly opened her eyes and sat up in bed. The first thing she heard when she sat up in bed was, Countess Scathach Scarlet surprised everyone yesterday when she introduced her new disciple . Suddenly the voice changed to that of a woman. What kind of connection does this man have with the 3 ? TSK. She hears Ruby's annoyed voice, and soon the woman's voice is completely silenced. They're still talking about it. Sasha spoke in a sleepy voice. They're going to talk about it for a long time. And it's only been a day, Ruby said. One day is a long time. They should have forgotten already. But Sasha knew she was asking the impossible. After all, vampires wouldn't forget so easily. Our husband caused chaos yesterday. The existence of a vampire who can use all 3 powers has shaken the entire vampire community. I think it's still not a good idea that he's demonstrated his capabilities. Sasha continued. It's not like he would listen to us. Ruby rolled her eyes. Indeed. He's surprisingly proud. Sasha grumbled a little. Well, he's a vampire, Ruby spoke. Although his pride is only in matters involving fights. Sasha seemed to be thinking of something. That's true. Ruby nodded. Violet looks toward the 2 women. Ruby and Sasha were sitting on a spacious sofa, and, just like Violet, they were just wearing a nightgown. Ruby was wearing a very comfortable and provocative red nightgown, while Sasha was wearing a white nightgown that looked quite noble and innocent. The 2 women were watching TV, the news channel from the vampire world. Despite being called the news channel, the entire vampire community knew that these news channels were gossip channels. As a society that has been around for a long time, they have several companies that provide entertainment for these bored vampires, and gossip channels are the most popular. Everyone wants to know what the famous are doing, right? Although some find this type of channel a waste of time, at the end of the day, they will watch these channels if they are interested in a famous figure currently being discussed. Because of this, gossip channels are quite popular in the vampire world. After the fight that took place yesterday, the channels kept talking about Victor, Scathach's new disciple, and his possible connection to the 3 great clans of vampire counts. The vampire world community was dying to know who this man was. They were hunting for any information about this man, but it proved quite difficult despite his efforts to get any information about him. Since anything related to Scathach was deeply hidden, and no one dared to provoke the wrath of that madwoman, after all, they don't know if at any moment that woman is going to knock on their door and cause mass destruction. Suddenly everyone hears the sound of a phone ringing. TSK. Violet heard Sasha's annoyed voice. Are they still calling? Ruby asked. Yes. I don't want to answer and hear my mom's bullshit. Sasha was quite annoyed. I think she was surprised to find out about your relationship with Victor, especially since she wasn't informed, right? It's not like she cares either, she only cares about her image. And probably, she's just curious like all vampires, considering, in that game, Victor was using our family's last names. The 2 women were silent for a long time, their eyes opened completely. They seemed to have discovered something. Sigh, Ruby sighed. My mom did it on purpose, right? Yes. Sasha nodded. I wonder what she's thinking. Sasha continued. She's probably just bored, and she's looking for some entertainment, and shaking up the whole vampire society seemed like something she'd like to do. Sasha started to think deeply. Where is my darling? Violet finally asked. He said he was going to visit his new friends. Ruby spoke. She wasn't surprised to hear Violet's voice, she had already realized that the woman had already woken up. Violet was silent, she seemed to be thinking of something. Aren't you going to get ready? Sasha asked. Huh? Violet didn't understand. You forgot. Ruby looked at Violet with a face of disbelief. Violet puts her hand to her chin and starts to think, but in the end, she couldn't remember, she could only think about Victor's blood that she'd sucked last night. Today is that day. Sasha illuminated Violet knowingly. Oh. Are you okay? I thought you would be more excited. Sasha continued, finding Violet's reaction strange. Normally, she was supposed to be screaming around excited. Did she eat something bad? I'm excited. But I also wanted to just stay in bed with my darling and drink his blood, maybe do this and that, he. She lay back on the bed and grabbed the pillow, and began to laugh with a perverted smile. She sniffed the pillow. Ah, darling. Ruby and Sasha rolled their eyes when they saw Violet's attitude, but... Actually, I think this is a good idea since we haven't had a lot of time with our husband these days. Ruby spoke after thinking about it a bit. Soon we will be returning to the human world, our husband misses his family, and we can spend a lot of time with him. Sasha spoke. That's true. It's been 6 months since Victor arrived in this world. Our husband's mother must be worried. Ruby nodded. I have some unfinished business in the human world too. Sasha's eyes gleamed with a dangerous glint. Don't do anything stupid. Indeed. Darling would be sad if you did something like that. Violet suddenly sat up in bed and looked at Sasha. I know. I will ask for your help when the time comes. You will help me, right? Sasha smiled. Ruby and Violet were a little shocked when they heard Sasha's words, but soon they both flashed a small smile and spoke at the same time. Of course. Victoria Ryder Mansion, a man wearing an all-black suit was walking calmly through the corridors of Victoria's mansion. Strangely, despite passing by several vampires, these vampires could not feel this man. The image of this man seemed to be blurry, and no one could feel his presence. Tick, tock. I arrived, bitches. Victor suddenly opens the door. He came to this place to visit his new friend. Who was his friend? Tatsuya Ryder, of course. After the fight, Victor felt like fighting his new friends. And because of that, he went to visit. Oh. Upon entering the room, the image of a blonde man did not appear in his vision, and instead. Victoria looked at Victor with a neutral gaze. She was in the middle of changing clothes, pale skin, slim body, B-cup breasts with little pink nipples, a small pert ass. Victoria's appearance was what you expected from a noble woman. Victor looks Victoria up and down, then he nods. As expected, jeans are an unfair thing sometimes. Hey, vein pops in Victoria's head. I wonder what you mean by that. Her eyes changed to blood red. I was comparing you to my wife Sasha. Victor was brutally honest as usual. Victoria's eyes seemed to sharpen. By Sasha, are you talking about my niece, Sasha Fulger? She wouldn't let this information go unnoticed, and she wasn't a little girl either who would scream when a man saw her naked body. As a woman of high status, she would usually order this man killed. Or, she would personally kill the man who saw her naked body without permission, but that is impossible to do with this man. Who else would it be? Victor replied, and soon he lost interest in Victoria. He started walking around the room while looking around like he was looking for something, and his eyes seemed to be glowing a little red. Victoria nodded. She learned something new. So that's why he has the surname of Clan Fulger. Wait, what about the other clans? Don't tell me he's married to members of the other clans. Scathack has confirmed that he is her son-in-law, so which daughter is he married to? Ruby? Lakis? Sienna? Maybe it's Pepper. What about the Snow clan? Her head was spinning too fast in an attempt to absorb the information she just learned. She even forgot to wear her clothes. Tatsuya. Tatsuya. Where are you? Victor looked like a child who was looking for his childhood friend. Victoria was speechless when she saw Victor's reaction. She was actually doubting her appearance now. Why didn't he react to me? Am I not cute? That's what she thought. As a woman, she was proud of her appearance and seeing someone so insensitive. It bothered her a little. He is gay. But that's impossible, he's married. Victoria couldn't accept the fact that she didn't attract a man's attention. It hurt her pride a little. What she didn't know was that Victor has no interest in women who don't have the quality he likes best, and he was also too loyal to his wives to try to look out for other women. Victor's eyes suddenly stop in front of a wall. I found you. Victor's smile grew unnaturally. Victor gently touched the wall and, soon, the magic circles on his glove began to glow. These symbols. As a woman who had always had hired witches around, she knew a little bit of magic, and it took only a glance to understand the incantation, restriction. Victoria's face darkened a little when she realized that Victor was holding back in the fight with Tatsuya and Einer. Suddenly Victor's image began to distort, and soon he was through the wall. Once again, Victoria was surprised. Monster. That was the only thing that crossed her mind, since she knows how difficult it is to do what Victor just did, and he did it so naturally, like it was too easy. Edited by is unavailable. If you want to support me so that I can pay artists to illustrate the characters in my novel, visit my Patreon, patreon.com/victorweissman. More characters images in ./4fetzaf, like it. Add to library. Don't forget to vote to support the book if you like it. Chapter 92, Tatsuya gained a friend. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tatsuya's personal room. A man with long blonde hair was lying on a bed, and beside this man was a woman, specifically speaking, a witch. The woman had short brown hair that came to the shoulder and green eyes. She was wearing a white outfit with violet accents and a witch hat on her head. The man and woman were looking at a tall man who was standing in front of them with a big, dangerous smile on his face. So, are we going to fight? I'm in recovery, Tatsuya spoke in a cold voice. Ha ha ha. Victor laughed as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. Who do you want to kid? You are a vampire. You are already recovered. Let's fight. Seeing Victor's crazy eyes, ugh, Tatsuya moaned in frustration. He was wondering what he did with his life to draw this madman's attention to him. Let's go. Let's go. Can I at least eat? I just woke up, and I'm hungry. Victor puts a hand to his chin as if he's thinking about something very important. Haha. Hecate chuckled gently as she covered her mouth. What? Tatsuya looked at the woman. Nothing. It's just funny to see someone generally cold have so much trouble with someone. Tatsuya didn't know how to react to Hecate's words. In the end, he just sighed. Okay. You can eat, but after that, we'll fight. Victor thought hard about his decision, and after very extensive consideration, he let Tatsuya eat. After all, he couldn't fight properly with hunger, and if he couldn't fight properly, Victor wouldn't have fun. Thanks. Tatsuya felt strange hearing Victor give him permission. In a ridiculously large room, Victor, Tatsuya, Victoria, and Hecate were present. Victor was sitting on an ice throne with a small smile on his face. Tatsuya was sitting in a chair some distance away, drinking a red liquid from a wine glass. He was feeling uncomfortable with Victor's gaze. Couldn't he eat in peace? Hecate was beside Victor looking at the symbols on his glove. She had a curious look on her face. Victor didn't mind the witch since, according to Scathach, his glove spell is a pretty simple thing to do, so he wasn't worried. I'm sorry, Lady Victoria. Several vampires were kneeling towards Victoria, who was sitting on a couch. Victoria had an annoyed look on her face. She paid dearly to keep her house safe, and a random vampire managed to break into her home and enter her room without anyone knowing. A bunch of useless. I will lower their wages. She was more irritated with Victor. He just casually walked into her house like he owned the place, saw her the way she came into the world, and then completely ignored her. Hateful man. Whatever. Just don't repeat it. Victoria would continue to lecture her subordinates, but suddenly she heard Victor's voice. Your subordinates are useless. Huh? The subordinates were surprised by Victor's sudden voice. What are you saying, kid? We are not useless. Ha ha ha. Victor smiled dangerously, his eyes glowed blood red, and then he raised his hand in a silent gesture, shoo. Victoria's subordinates' bodies trembled, and suddenly, they couldn't speak. That is. Victoria immediately understood what Victor had done, but this should be impossible. Just who is this man? She was getting tired mentally. Continuing. Victor looked at Victoria. Your subordinates are useless. I could easily get past your defenses, and I didn't even have to work very hard. That's because you're abnormal, a normal vampire. Hecate tried to defend Victoria's minions, but she stopped talking because she was surprised by Victor's attitude. Hello. Victor ignored Hecate and waved to the ceiling. The vampires on the ceiling broke out in a cold sweat when they saw Victor's gaze. Tatsuya's eyes turned cold, and he quickly rose from his chair. You have a lot of admirers. Victor chuckled playfully. Well, you're beautiful, so I think that's normal. Ha ha ha. Hecate. Victoria ignored Victor and quickly gave the witch the command. Yes. Hecate raises her hands, and soon several magic circles begin to appear around the mansion. Oh. Victor's eyes sparkled with curiosity. The shadows that were in the mansion quickly began to flee when they realized they had been compromised by Victor, but some were not so lucky, as the walls of Victoria's mansion began to move as if alive. TSK. Some fled. Hecate did her best to capture everyone, but she wasn't a fighting witch. Sensing the enemy's speed, Tatsuya understood that he couldn't catch them all alone, so he looked at Victor. Hey, my friend. Tatsuya felt awkward saying the word friend. Victor looked at Tatsuya with a curious look. Help me deal with these bugs. Tatsuya felt that he would regret his following words, and I will fight you as long as necessary. Victor's smile grew disproportionately, his image started to get distorted, a frightening pressure started to leave his body. Don't forget what you said, my friend. Tatsuya was already regretting what he said and felt he said some cursed words, but it's alright. Tatsuya was quite annoyed with himself. He couldn't see that his mother was being watched. He didn't win an important game for his mother, and to make his mood even worse, he completely lost against Victor. This weakness irritated him. He had never felt so angry with himself. Let's go. Tatsuya's body was covered by lightning. Just sit still, my friend. And enjoy the show. The magic circles on Victor's gloves began to glow brightly blood red, and as he sat on his ice throne, he snapped his fingers. Cocoon. He muttered under his breath, Fushush. Cold air began to leave his body and spread throughout the mansion, and with supernatural speed, a cocoon of ice began to be created around the entire mansion of Victoria. This is just bullshit. Victoria couldn't help but comment when she looked out the window and saw only pure ice. Her mansion's land covered over 500 meters. It's a considerable distance. And he covered it all. You've learned. Tatsuya remembers this technique. It was the technique Ina used. It's a pretty simple technique, Victor spoke honestly. The technique was simple, and the only prerequisite you needed to use this technique was to have extremely precise control of your power. Victoria Ryder. Victoria looked at Victor, and seeing the bloodthirsty smile on his face, she felt a shiver down her spine. She felt a bit of fear. Her only current thought was, what will this monster become in the future? But as an experienced trader, she did her best not to show those emotions on her face. What? Live, or dead? Victor asked a simple question, and Victoria immediately understood what he was talking about. Live. Okay. Victor lightly touches the ice throne with his finger. Victoria expected something to happen, but she felt nothing. Suddenly, she started to hear the noise of rain. She walks towards the window and is faced with a sight that shocks her very much. All the surroundings of her mansion turned into a desert of pure ice, and she immediately understood what was causing it. The rain. Raindrops when they touched something, that something was immediately frozen and turned into ice structures. Victoria looked at Victor with a disbelieving look. Did you do this? Yeah, you wanted them alive, right? The quickest way to do this is to freeze everything, and since they are vampires, they won't die from the cold. She felt stupid for asking that question since it was obvious he was the one who did it. If it wasn't him, who would it be? But the sight in front of her only made her brain stop working for a few seconds. Honestly, this extremely precise control of his power was scary, and to make her fear even worse, he didn't even look tired. Tatsuya was feeling strange now. He didn't even have to do anything. Victor's eyes glowed blood red while he looked towards a wall, then he said, "Done." Done. Hecate didn't understand. Yes. They all turned into ice sculptures. Victor flashed an innocent smile that sent shivers down Hecate's spine. Oh, she can only say that. Victor looked at Victoria's subordinates and ordered in a cold tone, "Go do your job." The subordinates quickly waved as if they were part of the army. "Yes, sir." Victoria had never seen her subordinates so scared in her life. Sigh, she was feeling tired, so she sat down on the couch again and looked at Victor, who had another small smile on his face. "He's my niece's husband, huh?" Then, suddenly, she realized something. She just realized they're related. Maybe that's a good thing. After all, having a strong relative is always welcome, and he doesn't seem to be prejudiced against her like the rest of her family, although that could change in the future if he discovers her secret, but she felt that Victor wouldn't mind. He didn't seem like a man who cared about little things. Sigh, she sighed again. She just wanted to lie down on the bed and not think about anything right now. She had so many things to do. Especially now that she found out her mansion was compromised. But for some reason, she didn't want to do anything today. "Mother, are you all right?" Tatsuya asked worriedly. "Yes, I'm just a little tired. I can understand you." The two looked at Victor, who was sitting on the ice throne. Noticing the look of the two, Victor looked at them. "What?" "Nothing." The two spoke. Edited by is unavailable. If you want to support me so that I can pay artists to illustrate the characters in my novel, visit my Patreon, patreon.com/victorweissman. More characters images in /4FETZAF, like it. Add to library. Don't forget to vote to support the book if you like it. Chapter 93, Tatsuya gained a friend. 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A few hours later, in the garden of Victoria's mansion, after the previous events, Victoria went off somewhere with Hecate and her new prisoners. Apparently, they were going to solve a little problem that Victor didn't bother to hear. Victor had no interest in these men or the subject of Victoria. He only helped the woman because Tatsuya said he would fight him. Kaguya, who practically stayed 24 hours, 7 days a week in Victor's shadow, was watching her master and the man called Tatsuya fighting. Normally, she and Yuki were supposed to be accompanying Victor wherever he went, but Yuki lost this time because she overslept, and Kaguya didn't bother to wake up the lazy maid. As a professional maid, it is the maid's duty to wake up before the master. If Yuki can't even meet this minimum requirement, she's not qualified to be a personal maid. Wrong, wrong. You are using the power wrong. Victor looked quite frustrated as he approached Tatsuya and pointed his finger at him. Huh. Your way of using power is very direct. You look like a horse that only knows how to run forward. Use it more flexibly. Who? A vein popped in Tatsuya's head. I'm not a horse. Then fight correctly. Fine. That the two walked away again and positioned themselves a little apart from each other. The two look at each other, and in the blink of an eye, they're gone. Bang! The sounds of blade colliding were heard, although the only one using a blade is Tatsuya. Victor is using his hand as a blade of ice. An intense exchange takes place, and neither of the two seems to be backing down. The pace my master improves is absurd. Kaguya couldn't help but be amazed. With just one look, Victor already had the power of a 500-year-old vampire. This is proved by the previous display of control, but the scariest thing is, he gets better faster when he's having fun. Victor doesn't seem to realize this fact. This man too. Tatsuya was similar to Victor. Although his pace is slower compared to my master, he is also not left behind. With just a few simple changes, Tatsuya was improving a lot too. I think reality hit him hard. Kagaya thought, the reality that he wasn't strong, and the reality of enemies watching his mother and he can't perceive those enemies, made him furious. And he's using that fury to get better, boom. 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 Small explosions happen when the two collide, both were using pure martial arts. Tatsuya used his katana, and Victor used his fists, and on some occasions, he used the greatsword. At some point, while they were fighting, they started fighting in the air using only lightning. Ha 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 ha. That's it. That's it. Victor looked like he was enjoying himself. Seeing the smile on Victor's face, Tatsuya couldn't help but flash a small smile on his face. He was getting excited too. The shit. Kagaya realized that Victor's personality was transmissible like a virus. The two collide for the last time and fall to the ground at a distance from each other. Victor points his finger at Tatsuya, rumble, rumble. The lightning around Victor seemed to have thickened, and with a huge smile on his face, he said, "Don't die, my friend. Or I will descend all 7 hells and pull you back to this world." Tatsuya felt a shiver down his spine when he saw Victor's gaze and quickly realized that something big was coming. He assumed an Iajutsu stance, as his eyes seemed to glow golden for a few seconds. Rumble, rumble. And just like Victor, the lightning around him seemed to have gotten stronger too. Crack, crack. The earth around them seemed to be being shattered by their concentration of power. They're overreacting. Kagaya couldn't help but mutter. Suddenly, a burst of pure energy left Victor's finger and flew towards Tatsuya. Seeing the tremendous energy coming towards him, Tatsuya wasn't afraid. "I'll cut this." It was like he was making a promise to himself. His lightning seemed to be focused on his katana, and the whole katana seemed to be bathed in pure lightning. When Victor's attack was inches from colliding with Tatsuya's body, he made a move. Cut. With an Iajutsu move, Tatsuya cuts Victor's power in half. Boom. Losing its initial strength, the power failed to maintain its form and exploded, but the radius of the explosion was so large that it made a small crater in Victoria's garden. Ha 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 ha. Victor was laughing his ass off as he watched the explosion with satisfied eyes. "Master. Please don't take up the hobby of blowing things up." Kagaya couldn't help saying it in a low voice when she saw the expression Victor was making. Hecate and Victoria, who had returned from her business, suddenly appeared in the garden. What was that noise? Tatsuya. She quickly ran beside her son, who was lying on the floor. "Are you okay?" "Why yes." Hey. Let's continue. Oh. Victor appears beside Tatsuya. "Tsk, you're tired already." Victor was about to complain, but when he saw the satisfied smile on Tatsuya's face, he said, "Oh. I know that smile." He displayed a small smile as if he understood something. "What are you talking about?" Tatsuya pretends to be innocent. Ha 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 ha. "If you don't want to talk, that's fine. It's more fun this way." "Master. You overreacted again." Kagaya suddenly appeared at Victor's side while looking at him with a stoic look. She seemed to be silently accusing him of a crime. Huh? Victor didn't understand. "Look around," Kagaya spoke. Victor looked around. Oh. The old garden that looked like an ice desert was now completely destroyed and had several craters scattered throughout the garden. "Well, I think it's okay. After all, Victoria has this witch." Victor pointed to Hecate. "I'm not a landscaping expert," Hecate spoke dryly. "And fixing this is going to cost me a lot of money." Victoria continued, "Can you get up?" She asked Tatsuya. "Soon, give me a few seconds." Tatsuya was very worn out. "Tsk, you have to work on your stamina. How are you going to satisfy a woman like that?" Tatsuya, Victoria, and Hecate stared at Victor with an expressionless look. "Master. This is inappropriate. But is it not true?" Victor remembers that Scathach always talked about it in his training, something like endurance being very important. "Well. Vampire women are, thirsty. Kaguya didn't say much. Lady Victoria should have more experience with this. She continued, Hecate, Kaguya, and Victor looked at Victoria. Huh. Victoria was taken aback that the focus of the conversation shifted to her at some point. Well. Victoria remembered that she had nearly dried her husband out several times when he was alive, and, even though he was a vampire, he had nearly died. See? Victor smiled. He didn't need Victoria's confirmation since her own silence was a confirmation. Victoria was wondering if she was that easy to be influenced. Of course, she isn't. Usually, she sets the pace for the conversation. It's all this man's fault. She started freaking out again inside. Can we change the subject? Tatsuya didn't want to hear about these things, especially when his mother was around. Feeling his body was better, he stood up. Oh. Victor's eyes sparkled for a moment, but when he looked closer, he realized that Tatsuya was still tired. Realizing that he couldn't have fun again, he said. TSK. There's no way. I'm going to visit my other friend. Send my condolences to him, Tatsuya spoke with a happy smile. He was happy that someone would suffer the same thing as him, although he was grateful to Victor since, if not for Victor, he wouldn't have taken a step to improve, but that's something he will never say out loud, so much for pride and so much not to provoke this crazy man. Imagine what he will do if he knows I've improved. I will not have peace in this life. Okay. I will. Come on, Kaguya. Yes, master. Kaguya entered Victor's shadow. Oh. Victor remembered something as he quickly turned around and looked at Victoria. Go visit your niece, ungrateful woman. Even though you left your clan for a reason, I don't care. Sasha has nothing to do with it, I will. Victoria, for some reason, didn't mind Victor's rude way of talking to her anymore. She didn't even get angry anymore either. Good. Victor displayed a gentle smile, very different from the smile he always had. It was a smile he only showed his wives. That smile somehow felt warm in the hearts of Hecate and Victoria. Rumble, rumble. Victor's body was covered by lightning. Victor exhibited his characteristic smile and said, I'll see you in the near future. See ya. Boom. Like a rocket soaring into the sky, Victor flew skyward at a speed that would be the envy of any user of Clan Fulgur's lightning power. Boom. When he reached a considerable height, everyone could hear a sonic boom, and soon all they could see was a golden trail flying across the sky. The three were speechless when they saw the lightning being used in this way, especially Victoria. Not even her sister could do what he did without consequences. And it looks like he could do that at any time. He sure is intense, but, somehow, I understand why your niece liked him. Hecate commented, her face a little red. Yes. Unconsciously, Victoria agreed. Mother. Tatsuya stared at his mother like a hawk. I mean, he's young, he's handsome, he's strong, and he has a personality that's attractive to female vampires. So it makes sense that my niece likes him. Tatsuya didn't know how it felt to hear his mother praising his enemy so openly. Getting her son's look wrong, she said, Don't worry, son. Even though you're almost 100 years old, you're still a baby. One day you will have a wife too. Somehow, Tatsuya received critical damage when he heard his mother's words. Edited by, is unavailable. If you want to support me so that I can pay artists to illustrate the characters in my novel, visit my Patreon, patreon.com/VictorWeissman. More characters images in, /4FETZAF, like it? Add to library. Don't forget to vote to support the book if you like it. Chapter 94, Is Ophis a spoiled girl? You are listening at novelfull.audio. After flying a few kilometers away, Victor finally arrived in Eastern Territory, which was owned by Clan Horseman. Why didn't he go to Clan Horseman's personal mansion in the royal capital? Well, he went to the mansion, but the mansion was empty, so he deduced that his friend had returned to his territory. I think it's here. Victor was on top of a building. It's here, master. Is this place pleasant? What is happening? Victor felt the temperature of the place. The sudden change in temperature made him a little curious. After all, the north, which is the territory of Skathak and the royal capital, was colder than here. The territory of the east, formerly belonging to Clan Fulgur, is a milder territory that always seems to be in autumn. Oh, is this territory where there are those groups of monkeys that can be tamed? Yes. How do you know about this? Elizabeth told me when we were visiting the capital. Heh. When did you get so close to the princess? I'm not close to her, she just accompanied me on my visit to the capital because Ophis didn't want to leave with her. Oh, Kaguya understood now, suddenly starting to remember Ophis's expression a day ago. She looked like she didn't want to part with Victor. Flashback, when Victor was declared the winner of the game, he returned to the VIP room, and a small situation was happening. Ophis, we need to get back, Elizabeth spoke. No. Ophis denied it. Ophis. Elizabeth narrowed her eyes on her sister. This was no time to be spoiled. No. Ophis ran towards Victor and climbed on his shoulder. Ha ha ha. Victor laughed gently as he held Ophis with his arm and patted the little girl's head. Father Ophis displayed a small satisfied smile. Girl, listen to your big sister, and go home. Violet had a smile on her face. She's obviously happy, and she wasn't even trying to hide it. Yes, it's time for the child to sleep. Sasha surprisingly supported Violet. Girls. Ruby was speechless. What? Will you say that you like to see her close to our husband? Sasha's eyes weren't pretty. Ruby was silent. She knew Sasha was correct. Do something. Elizabeth looked at Victor with accusing eyes. Seeing Violet's gaze, Victor looked around and even looked behind himself to see if he could find someone. Since he wasn't sure if she was talking to him, he then pointed to himself. Me? He had an innocent smile on his face. Who else? Elizabeth was about to freak out. Victor thought for a bit. To be honest, he didn't want to do anything, considering it's not like he hated Ophis' presence. But probably, as a princess, she must have things to do, right? Father, that he looked at Ophis, and seeing Ophis' cute face, he said, go home, you can always visit me whenever you want, you know where I live, right? Huh. Violet, Sasha, and Ruby didn't expect to hear those words. Ophis nodded. When you feel like it, just come visit me, but for now, listen to big sister, okay? Ophis makes a hard face as if she wants to deny it, but when she sees Victor's gentle smile, she relents. Okay. Father. Was it that easy? Why does she just listen to you? He's not even her real father. Elizabeth was freaking out internally. Victor puts Ophis down, and the little girl looks at her sister, returning. Why? Suddenly a dark power covers Ophis' body, and she disappears. Fuck. She always does that. Hey, that's not a princess vocabulary. Victor chuckled. Fuck you. This is your fault. Ha 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 ha. Victor just laughed and didn't care. This bitch. When Violet was going to do something, she was held up by Ruby. Don't do anything. She's finally leaving, and if you try to look for trouble now, she'll stay here longer. Oh. This was not something Violet wanted. Humph. Elizabeth turned her face and walked towards the exit of the VIP room. She looked at the royal guards. Come on, do your job this time. Yes, princess. Her noble image was completely destroyed, Pepper commented. That happens a lot when someone is dealing with Victor, Eleanor spoke. Own experience, huh? Lakis exhibited a small smile. Yes. Eleanor did not deny it. Seeing Victor's interested smile through the shadow, she said, You're not going to tame those monkeys, are you? I wanted to, but I don't have time today. Maybe in the future. Victor spoke, then he looked towards a ridiculously large mansion and jumped towards it. In midair, Victor's image started to get distorted, and he suddenly turned into a swarm of bats. The swarm of bats flew towards the mansion, past the mansion's defenses, and soon he was standing in the middle of the garden. Unlike the time with Victoria, this time, someone could feel Victor's presence. Intruder. Victor looked at the man, and seeing that he looked like a grown man, he asked, Who are you? Who are you, intruder? Victor Walker. Who are you? Victor asked again. James. What are you doing here? The man seemed to know Victor's name. Visiting my friend, he spoke with a small smile on his face. The butler nodded. Second floor. When you go up the stairs, he'll be at the 10th door on the left. James turned and walked toward somewhere, and soon the image of him disappeared. Thanks. Victor turned and walked, but before he went to the indicated place, he used his powers. However, for some reason, he couldn't see anything. He stopped walking. What is this? This is the first time this has happened. He felt strange, considering his visual power never failed him, but he didn't think much about it. After all, he knows that with the existence of magic, a lot can be done. So he just kept on alert. James was walking back to his work, but suddenly he stopped walking and said, Oh, I gave the wrong instructions. That was Lady Jessica's room. When he thought he should go back and warn Victor about it, he got lazy. Whatever. He ignored the whole situation and pretended he didn't know anything. At the door of a very feminine room, Victor was standing looking at the sight in front of him. I wonder why this keeps happening to me. He was really wondering about it. It's not like he was purposely going into the women's rooms. He wasn't a pervert. And he was married. In front of Victor was Jessica, just like she came into the world, and she looked like she had just woken up. Master is unlucky. And at the same time, lucky? Perhaps. W.H. What dash? Jessica's face was pure red. Oh, her reaction is different. She froze. Well, she is younger than Lady Victoria. Makes sense. Victor looked Jessica up and down. The girl was short, 168 centimeters tall, thin, and pale skin like all vampires, B-cup breasts, and long, slightly curly black hair and dark blue eyes. So, who are you? Victor asked. Jessica Horseman. Unconsciously, she replied, but soon an anger rose inside her heart. She took a blanket and hid her nudity, and when she went to ask Victor to leave, she heard. Oh, you're Einer's sister. Tell me, where is he? Isn't this man too insensitive? He saw her nudity and didn't react at all. Was she ugly? Hello. Woman, are you in this world? Victor walked over to Jessica and waved his hand in front of her face. Yeah. Jessica was surprised, but for several reasons now that she couldn't describe. Oh, you came back to life. Now tell me. Where is he? I asked your butler, and he said it was here. Jessica's eyes narrowed. Was it James' fault? I will reduce his salary. Master. Why don't you use your power? Isn't it easier? I tried, but something seems to be blocking my view. Enchantments, perhaps. I don't know, but this is the first time it's happened, and since this is a count's mansion, security should here be tighter, right? Or they are hiding something. Makes sense. Victor thought it was quite possible. He tried to use his power again, and as expected, he couldn't see anything. He just saw the red world, and in this world, there were several walls as if they wanted to keep him from seeing something. Why are you talking to yourself? Oh, don't mind, I like to think out loud. Victor smiled. Jessica was silent. Then. Where is Einer? He is in a coma. She spoke in a cold tone without any sympathy. Oh. Victor was interested. After the game, he was in a coma from using his power too much and is recovering. Victor puts a hand to his chin, as he seems to be considering something. That butler, doesn't he know his master is in a coma? Or is he the elder brother's butler? Lots of questions. Although Victor is in doubt, he doesn't care much. After all, he knows that the vampire clan is quite complicated. Looking at Jessica's face, he smiled a little. Well, I believe you. Heh. What is this shocked face? He asked. Nothing. Just. Victor didn't understand, and the woman didn't continue talking either. Just what? Nothing. For some reason, Victor felt like he was talking to Ophis now, though Ophis was cuter than she was. What now, master? I will go after the monkeys. You hadn't given up. Yes, but I haven't had my fun, and I still have time. So why not? Victor smiled, sigh. Monkey? Yeah, do you know where they are? Are you talking about the big apes that eat black bananas? Yes, that one. Victor's eyes gleamed with interest. Their habitat is further east, in a dense forest. You can find them there. Heh, thank you for the info. Jessica flashed a small smile when she heard Victor's words, thank you. Well, nice to meet you, Jessica. I'm going now. Victor turned and walked towards the exit. Seeing Victor's back walking away, she said, do you know where the exact location is? I do not know. Victor smiled. Jessica was speechless. Is he just very adventurous? How do you go to a place you don't know? But I have someone with me who knows. Indeed. Lady Sasha visited that place in the past with Lady Violet. I know the way. As expected of you. Kagaya's shadow seemed to smile. Jessica understood that someone was accompanying him. Oh. Take care, I think. Thanks. Victor casually walked out of Jessica's room. As the door closed, Jessica suddenly remembered something. He saw me. He saw me. She had completely forgotten about it. She was caught up in his rhythm. Ah. I can't get married anymore. Edited by is unavailable. If you want to support me so that I can pay artists to illustrate the characters in my novel, visit my Patreon, patreon.com/victorweisman. More characters images in, /4fetzaf, like it? Add to library. Don't forget to vote to support the book if you like it. Chapter 95, The Wives Are Feeling Threatened. You are listening at novelfull.audio. While Victor was visiting his friends, a little chaos was happening in the room where he sleeps with his wives. Not this one. Not this one. Not this one. This one looks like an old woman's dress. Will we be like this too when it's our turn? Sasha asked as she looked at Violet, who was only wearing a black bra and black panties. She was in front of the wardrobe, taking all the clothes out of it and throwing them on the bed. She seemed very indecisive about what she was going to wear. Probably. Ruby replied. Hard to say, huh? Yes. Ruby nodded. Can you help me? Violet suddenly looked at both of them. The two were speechless. But wasn't it you who didn't want our help? Are you getting senile? Sasha snapped. Whatever, just help me. Ugh. This girl is very irrational. This is nothing new. Indeed. She's been like that since she was a child. Sasha didn't feel like getting off the couch, it seemed to be swallowing her. She was too lazy. Coming to think, she's changed a lot, huh? Ruby spoke after looking at Violet. You think? Sasha raised an eyebrow at her. Violet looked like the same irrational, crazy, and stalking woman she'd known since childhood. Yes, until a few days ago, she would try to kill us for being close to our husband. Oh. That's true. Sasha nodded. We also changed. For example, you wouldn't be as comfortable talking about these things now as before, right? Ruby exhibited a small smile. Sasha smiled gently. You've changed too. Now you smile more. She remembers that Ruby used to be colder and rarely showed emotions. Oh. Ruby is surprised, but soon she flashes a gentle little smile, indeed. Sasha felt her heart flutter a little when she saw Ruby's smile, then she also flashes a smile. I've said it several times already, but you should show that smile more to our husband. He would love it. In the future. Ruby laughed. A moment of silence fell in the room, and the only noise the two of them could hear was Violet pulling several clothes out of the wardrobe. Yet, in some strange way, this noise left the two women with a feeling of peace in their hearts. A lot happened suddenly, and we didn't have time to talk about it. Indeed. Sasha nodded. Do you intend to go home? Ruby asked. In the future. After my date with Darling. Oh. Since when do you call him Darling? Since now. Sasha laughed, and then she spoke with a serious expression. I'm tired of not showing my feelings to my darling. I feel that if I don't get closer to him, your mother will steal my darling from me. Ruby didn't know how to feel when she heard Sasha's words, but, inwardly, she thought the same thing as her. That is impossible, Ruby said, or at least she wanted to believe so. Wake up to reality, they are very similar, and it attracts them, even if they don't realize it. Sasha's face darkened a little, and something happened while they were training. Didn't you see that Darling is regularly giving his blood to your mother? Ruby's and Sasha's eyes darkened, indeed. I realize that, but one thing we can be sure of, our husband will never cheat on us. But, we have to be careful with women. Mainly, my mother. She never thought she would say that in her life, she also never thought that she would have to feel threatened by her own mother. It shouldn't be like that. Don't forget Ophis, Elizabeth, and Eleanor. Sasha ignored Ruby's sisters because she realized that Victor's relationship with them is more like a sibling relationship, and Victor doesn't like Sienna, Ruby's older sister. Ophis too. She is a child. She's a child now. But what about in the future? Ruby raised an eyebrow, she had completely forgotten about that. But we're missing something, Sasha added with serious eyes. What? Our husband's feelings. Oh. Ruby thought that was true. After all, they were just thinking about themselves, and they never thought about Victor's own feelings. Come to think of it now, they never had a proper conversation with Victor about it. Currently, he only has eyes for us. And scat hack. Ruby looks at Sasha. Because of that, she's the most dangerous, huh? Yes. Sasha wore a face of uncertainty, although depending on our husband's tastes, these women will never get a chance to be around him. Oh. Ruby raised an eyebrow. You seem to be absolutely sure what you're talking about. Sasha looked at Ruby. Don't you see? Darling just reacts to women like Violet, scat hack, you, and me. What do we have in common? Ruby was thinking deeply, but she couldn't think of anything. What is Violet's most striking feature? Sasha helped a little. She's a Yandere. Oh, Ruby responded without thinking, and when she answered, she understood what Sasha was suggesting. Yandere? Sasha didn't understand. It means something close to a stalker. She was too lazy to explain. Our husband only reacts to women like that. He has problems in his head. Wait, am I like that too? Somehow she just realized it now. Wait. She started to panic. I don't remember being like this. She was a more noble and calm woman. She's not like Violet. At least that's what she believes. I wasn't like that either. Ruby muttered. We were influenced. Ruby looked at Violet with accusing eyes. It's Violet's fault, right? Sasha spoke. Indeed. It's the ritual's fault too. Thanks to the side effect of the unsuccessful ritual, we can feel each other's emotions. They faithfully believed it. But, they didn't realize that this was all an illusion of their own making. They were never normal. How can a child who was raised by a woman who loves to gamble and a woman who is mad about battle be normal? Not to mention that they are vampires. Biologically, this breed feels emotions more intensely. They never had a chance to be normal. Sensing Ruby and Sasha's accusing stares, Violet stopped what she was doing and looked at the two of them. What? Why are you guys looking at me like that? She was so focused on choosing an outfit that she didn't hear the two women talking. Nothing. The two replied at the same time. Suddenly the two heard Yuki's scream. Ugh. I'm late. Oh, she woke up now, huh? Ruby spoke. Yes, it's a shame our husband has already left, Sasha spoke. Since she's not doing anything, I'm going to ask her to help me. Violet had a great idea. Wait, she's not your maid. But she is from my clan. And she's my darling's maid, and if she's my darling's maid, she's my maid too. After all, everything of my darling's is mine, and everything I have is my darling's. The two were speechless with this twisted logic. Somehow, in a distorted way, that makes sense, Sasha spoke after thinking for a few seconds. Ruby nodded in agreement. Right? I will call her. Violet ran toward the bedroom exit. Wait. Put on some clothes first. Oh. Violet suddenly stopped running. She looked at the bed, and seeing whatever clothes she liked, she took the clothes and put them on. Soon she left the room. She left the door open. Ruby sighed. I'll fix it. Sasha's body is covered with lightning, and as soon as she disappears, in a flash, she closes the door and lays down where she was again. I envy that ability. Ha ha ha! Sasha laughed in amusement. In a dense forest, Victor was standing on top of a gigantic tree, and beside him was Kaguya. I swear. If God exists in this world, he is trying to make a fool of me. In front of Victor was a 4-meter-tall monkey. The monkey was bathing in a waterfall, and this monkey was clearly female. Master, you have strange luck. Is this luck? Victor pointed to the monkey that was taking a bath. I think this is bad luck. Considering you had 2 lucky moments a few moments ago. The universe is trying to balance things out, I guess. Which lucky moments are you talking about? Nothing came to mind for Victor when he thought about it. Kaguya looked at Victor in disbelief. Master. Are you serious? Yes, sigh. She gave a very visible sigh, then she said, don't you remember? Seeing your friend's mother and your friend's sister naked? Oh. Victor thinks for a moment and says, is that luck? For some men, it is. Kaguya commented. Victor thought Andrew, his childhood friend, would find this situation quite lucky. Whatever. Victor didn't think about it much since he had no interest in it. Kaguya exhibited a small smile when she saw that Victor didn't care for those women. Just a curiosity, what do you consider as luck? She was quite curious. I think I'm already lucky. He answered honestly. Huh? Kaguya didn't understand. After all, that wasn't the question she asked him. Victor elaborated, I mean, I have 3 wives that I love very much, a master who takes care of me in her weird way, and I have you. He smiled kindly. Oh. Kaguya turned her face away quickly. Kaguya. Why don't you go fight? The monkey is in front of you. Victor looked at the monkey. I think that would be disrespectful. Attacking someone while that person is taking a shower, it's kind of, right? It's not like Victor is trying to kill the monkey. He just wants to fight. Why yes. Whatever. Why don't you look for another monkey then? I will be waiting here. Okay. Victor nodded, and soon his body was covered in lightning, and he flew into the sky. Realizing that Victor is gone, Kaguya kneels in a fetal position and puts her hand on her face. She doesn't want anyone to see her face right now. This is unfair, Master. Edited by, is unavailable. If you want to support me so that I can pay artists to illustrate the characters in my novel, visit my Patreon, patreon.com/victorweissman. More characters images in, /4fetzaf. Like it? Add to library. Don't forget to vote to support the book if you like it. Chapter 96, Strange Place. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Victor was in front of an animal that looked more like a gorilla. He was a huge gorilla over 15 meters tall, muscular, had black fur and red eyes, and was sitting like he was enjoying the moonlight. Gorilla, banana, gorilla. Me, leader, banana, gorilla. The gorilla turns his face and looks at Victor and sees him making strange gestures while pointing to the black bananas on the ground. The gorilla exhibited a strange face, and the only thing he thought was, is he a fool? Somehow the gorilla was enjoying what Victor was doing and started clapping his hands as if to say to continue. Victor was speechless when he saw the gorilla's attitude. This isn't working. Victor gets up off the floor and pats his clothes to dust them off. How do I tame this creature? Victor's eyes sparkled. He wanted to tame this creature. He wanted his own King Kong. Uru, Uru. What? The gorilla pointed to the piles of black bananas. Oh, take it. I can't eat them anyway. Victor threw a banana in the direction of the gorilla, who caught it quite easily. Victor tried to taste the banana before, but for him, it had the worst taste in the world. Uru, Uru. The gorilla looked happy. Yeah. Whatever. Victor spoke as if he understood him, but the question is, does he understand? Of course not. But just like the other animals he came in contact with in the past, he could understand the creature's intentions, and the gorilla is far more intelligent than other animals, so he can understand it a little. I should have asked someone about taming a gorilla. Victor sat down on the floor and put a hand to his chin in a bored way. He was wondering what to do next. The gorilla looked at Victor, and his eyes sparkled with curiosity as he got up from the tree he was leaning against and approached Victor, then sat down next to him. Oh. Victor looked at Gorilla, who was beside him with only a pile of bananas separating the two. What's up, big guy? Do you want more bananas? Uru. I see. Take as much as you want. The gorilla started eating bananas. Victor was watching the gorilla eating the food so exquisitely. Somehow, he was curious. Is this really that good? Too bad he couldn't eat. Uru. The gorilla pointed to the pile of bananas when he saw Victor's gaze. He seemed to be offering it to Victor. He was a polite gorilla. Unfortunately, I can't eat, big guy. Look. Victor bared his fangs. When the gorilla saw Victor's fangs, he understood what Victor was saying, and with a sudden movement, the gorilla got up and walked towards the tree he was sitting on. He opens the hull of the tree and grabs something, then he goes back to Victor and sits down on the ground. Suddenly, he throws a large amount of items on the ground. Oh. Victor looked at the items in curiosity. The items looked like a completely red type of fruit. What is that? He inspected the fruit. Uru. I can get it. The gorilla nodded, then went back to eating the banana Victor had brought. Victor takes the fruit. Oh. It's quite soft. It looks like jelly. Uru. Victor looked at the gorilla and saw the gorilla pointing to its mouth. Oh, do you want me to eat? Uru. Well, why not? Victor took the fruit and put it in his mouth. Suddenly the fruit seemed to burst, and a red liquid came down in Victor's mouth. It tasted delicious, like he had drunk apple juice when he was human. Unconsciously, he started to pick more fruit and put it in his mouth. Uru. The gorilla started clapping. The fruit was not as tasty as his wife's blood, but it was quite nice. Wait. If he can eat these fruits, then. Is this blood? Victor looked at the fruit, and then he looked at the tree. He focused his attention more on the tree, and he could see the tree was moving. What the fuck? It is alive. He quickly gets up from the ground. Uru. The gorilla started to laugh at him. Shut up. I didn't know this kind of creature existed, okay? Uru. He started to clap his hands. Ugh, the language barrier is tough. Victor thought this was how a foreigner felt when he went to a country that didn't know the local language. But what is this? Victor examined the tree, and, just out of curiosity, he touched the tree's hull. When Victor touched the tree's hull, something happened. Slowly, the tree began to send her branches onto his hand and began to wrap around his arms. He was scared at first, but he didn't feel threatened. In fact, he feels welcome. Victor looks at the tree hull that the gorilla opened, and out of curiosity, he looks inside, and inside the tree hull, he sees several skeletons. He focused his attention on the skeletons. Fangs. What he saw was clearly a vampire skeleton, and he could also see some human skeletons mixed together. This place, he pulls back a little and looks around, this place evolved to devour beings. Victor clearly saw the result of the beings that approached this place. But why don't I feel threatened? He was feeling a strange feeling in his heart. Master, why are you Master? What are you doing? Suddenly the atmosphere of the gorilla and the tree changed from peaceful to hostile. The gorilla roared towards Kaguya. Kaguya quickly covers her body with darkness and prepares to fight. The gorilla began to approach Kaguya with hostile intentions. He didn't even look like the peaceful gorilla that Victor was with and completely changed his attitude when Kaguya appeared. Seeing that Kaguya is in danger, Victor takes a step towards her, and soon he disappears and then reappears in front of Kaguya. Kaguya, step back. But, Master. Do as I say. Victor's eyes sparkled. Oh, okay. Kaguya was a little startled by Victor's gaze, but she quickly ran in the opposite direction. Realizing that Kaguya was safe, Victor's body relaxed a little. Victor cracks his neck and looks at the gorilla, as his smile grows. Hey, big guy. Let's have some fun. He didn't even try to talk to pacify the gorilla. The gorilla roared and thumped its chest in a sign of defiance. That's the spirit. A frightening pressure left Victor's body. Victor jumps towards the gorilla and attacks him. The gorilla does the same and swings his big arms as he attacks Victor. The gorilla expected Victor to fly away when he attacked him. After all, he was tiny compared to his size, right? But the reality he expected didn't happen. The two fists collide in the air. Boom! And for a moment, the sound of a crash of air was heard, and an unexpected result happened. The gorilla pulled away and fell to the ground sitting up. The gorilla looked at Victor in disbelief. He didn't expect this result. TSK. Victor clicked his tongue in annoyance when he saw his broken arm. If it were Scat-Hack, that gorilla would have flown far. I'm still weak. In less than 7 seconds, his arm was completely regenerated, and he looked at the gorilla, then he positioned himself again. Let's continue. Seeing Victor's smile, the gorilla displayed a small smile that showed all of his fangs. Heh. I like that smile. The gorilla gets up from the ground. He had completely forgotten about Kaguya, and all that was in his head now was Victor. Roar. Bomb. Bomb. He roared at Victor as he hit his chest several times. This time, he was serious. Victor's smile grew disproportionately. Ha 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 ha. He laughed like a maniac. That's the spirit, big guy. The magic circles on Victor's glove began to glow blood red. Let's fight. ROR. The gorilla roared as if saying the same thing as Victor, and, with speed disproportionate to his size, he appeared in front of Victor and punched him in the face. Wadash. Victor didn't expect this speed coming from someone so big. Boom. A sonic boom was heard, and soon Victor's body flew skyward. Ha 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 ha. Despite having some broken body parts, he laughed. He felt it. This pain. It's the same as when he was training, and it's also the sign that he was facing a strong opponent. Victor's body regenerated in midair, and soon he created an ice shelf behind him and, using the ice shelf as support, he flew towards the gorilla. In midair, Victor's hands began to get covered by an ice glove, and like a rocket, it hits the gorilla's face. Boom. A bang was heard as Victor punched the gorilla in the face, and this time as he got momentum, the gorilla was thrown back by his strength. then just as the gorilla's body was going to fall to the ground. "It's not over yet, big guy." Victor appears under the gorilla and holds it. Boo! The gorilla didn't believe what he was witnessing. He was heavy, you know. With a show of strength, Victor threw the gorilla in the air. Victor points both his palms at the gorilla. Fire and ice began to be created in front of him. Soon this power flew towards the gorilla. Realizing the danger, the gorilla did something that only increased Victor's smile. The gorilla's body appeared to be covered in some kind of black material. The two powers collide against the gorilla's armor, and a tremendous amount of smoke is created. The gorilla roared in midair and blasted away all the smoke created by the attack, and Victor can clearly see a gorilla wearing full-length black armor. Ha 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 ha. Victor began to applaud in genuine happiness. "You're the best, big guy. Master. You are an incorrigible man." Kaguya, who was watching everything from a tree at a considerable distance, couldn't help but say that when she saw Victor's smile. Edited by, is unavailable. If you want to support me so that I can pay artists to illustrate the characters in my novel, visit my Patreon, patreon.com/Victor Weissman. More characters images in /4fetzaf, like it? Add to library. Don't forget to vote to support the book if you like it. Chapter 97, 2 New Weird Friends. You are listening at novelfull.audio. And to think that he would enter the forbidden forest and approach a demonic beast without knowing it, Kaguya commented as she watched Victor exchange punches with the gorilla. Aura. Come on, big guy. Show me all your strength. Victor was attacking his armor several times. The gorilla roared and walked away from Victor, and then, after grabbing a tree, he removed the branches from it and used the tree as a spear. Slowly the tree he held began to be covered with the same black material he was using as armor. Oh. Are we going to switch to sword fighting? In that case, Victor created an ice greatsword and then raised the greatsword in front of him. Let's go. Victor jumped towards the gorilla and started attacking him again. Didn't he notice that the monkey looked different and much stronger than the one he had seen before? My God! My master is incorrigible. Kaguya sighed. Bang. The sound of metal on metal was heard. Ugh! The noise was too loud, and Kaguya put her hands to her ears in pain, and suddenly, boom! An explosion happened on the spot. Rocks and trees started flying around. This was just the result of the clash between the two. Keek. Ha 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 ha. A demonic gorilla and a vampire started laughing like crazy as they fought. At first, the fight was at a normal pace, but, slowly, their speed began to increase, and little by little, they became images that untrained eyes could not see. Holy fuck! Is this really a fight between a gorilla and a vampire? Kaguya, for the first time in a long time, spoke a bad word. She was just in total disbelief. When a normal vampire and a demonic creature fight, that kind of thing doesn't happen. And especially this gorilla. Why is he so fast? It doesn't make sense for him to have this speed at this size. Boom! 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 Several explosions happened every time Victor and the gorilla collided with each other. And this fight attracted the attention of other predators. Some demonic animals that were in the vicinity began to approach, seeking the opportunity to kill them both. This is getting dangerous. I better hide. Kaguya disappeared into the shadows. A fox-like creature with horns approached Victor and tried to attack him. Roar dash. Fuck off. Don't get in my way. But Victor just punched the fox in the face. The punch was so hard that the fox flew far away. A similar situation happened with the gorilla when a wolf tried to bite his neck. But the gorilla just punched the wolf towards the fox. Ayuyuyuyuyu. Ki. The wolf and the fox wept in pain. Victor created a gigantic fireball and threw it at them both. Boom! An explosion of fire happened. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the gorilla stepped on the ground and created a thorn with the same black material and threw it at the two beasts, pierce. Soon the sounds of fox and wolf disappeared completely. The thorn with the black material made by the gorilla has pierced the fox and the wolf. A demonic beast skewer was created. Did they plan this? Kaguya, who was watching from the shadows, asked in disbelief. Ha 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 ha. Keek. Soon the two jumped into battle again. I do not think so. A few hours later, Victor was lying on the floor, breathing heavily. He looked quite tired, had some parts of his clothes cut off, and even had a wound that wasn't healing. Despite being in this state, he had a big smile of satisfaction on his face as he looked at the moon. Ah, tonight is a beautiful night. Next to him was a giant gorilla with several pieces of broken armor, also breathing heavily just like Victor. I haven't been so tired in a while. Victor was honest. The only times he got tired was when fighting Scathach, and, just like in the fight with Scathach, he only needed to rest a few minutes until all his wounds regenerated, as well as his vigor. I'm thirsty. And just like in Scathach's fight, he always got thirsty when he was completely exhausted. Victor looked at his body and saw that his body was completely healed, but he didn't feel like getting up. The gorilla got up and sat down. Victor looked at the gorilla and saw the gestures he was making. Uru. He pointed to himself and to the large tree that was surprisingly undamaged by their struggle. Yeah, I know. I'll tell her. Victor had an idea what he was talking about. From what he could understand was something like, don't let that girl come near the tree. Uru. The gorilla got up and walked towards the tree, and every step he took made the earth around him shake, so he sat on the ground leaning against the tree trunk. He looks at the moon, then closes his eyes. He's tired, huh? Victor stands up. Well, I won't judge him. I'm also a little tired. Victor soon started walking in the opposite direction from the gorilla. Oh, I forgot something. Hey, big guy. The gorilla looked at Victor. I will be back. Victor flashed a smile. Grr, the gorilla snorted and turned away. Victor didn't understand the gorilla's reaction, but soon, the gorilla gives a thumbs up with his hand. Pfft, is he shy? This is unexpected coming from you, big guy. Roa air. Yeah, I'm leaving. I'll be back later to visit you too. Victor spoke. Victor exhibited a small smile when he saw the tree swaying its branches as if it was saying goodbye to him. Walking out of the forest where he was, Victor met Kaguya. Master Dash. Before Kaguya could say anything. Are you okay? Victor spoke as he started looking at every corner of Kaguya's body. Master, I'm fine. Kaguya wasn't used to this sudden attention. Sigh. Victor sighed in relief. Master. Victor placed his hand on Kaguya's head. Kaguya thought he was going to head pat her. She was looking forward to it, but the head pat didn't come. Crack. Victor squeezed Kaguya's head tightly. My head. Kaguya screamed in pain. Kaguya, Victor spoke in an extremely serious voice. You wanted to stay, right? Did you forget about the contract? He was talking about the previous situation. Kaguya was silent. But Dash. She was going to say something, but Victor stopped her. No, but remember, don't mind me. Your safety is more important to me. I hope that doesn't happen again. Kaguya was silent, but she nodded. Good. Victor displayed a gentle smile as he started walking in front of Kaguya. Seeing Victor's back, Kaguya thought wistfully, it's hard not to care about your safety, master. Kaguya. Suddenly, Kaguya heard Victor's voice again, and soon she woke up from her thoughts. If you want to protect me, get stronger. Kaguya opened her eyes a little. Victor looked at Kaguya, but even if you get stronger, and you can protect me. I ask that you always prioritize your safety. This is a contradiction, master. Ha ha ha. Victor laughed gently. Indeed. But that's the way I am. He started walking again in front of Kaguya. I ask, huh? She realized he hadn't ordered her. He'd just made a request, so it's up to her whether she'll follow that request or not. rumble, rumble. Huh. It's raining. Pepper looked out the window, and as usual, the skies over the capital were cloudy, but it didn't seem to be raining. Impossible. The capital does not have rain. Lakis replied. But what about these lightning noises? Pepper asked. Must be your imagination, Lakis replied. It's not my imagination, rumble. The lightning noise got louder. See? Pepper smiled with a victorious smile. Why are you showing that smile? Don't be a child. He, Pepper laughed, rumble. Suddenly everyone heard the noise of lightning hitting the ground. Hi. That was near here. Pepper. Do you have chicken brains? Lakis asked her younger sister a genuine question. Phewie. Pepper didn't understand. Lakis elaborated, think with me, it's impossible to reign in the capital, and who is the person who has lightning powers outside the mansion now? Oh. Pepper opened her mouth, soon everyone hears Victor's voice. Girls, I'm back. It's Victor. Pepper exclaimed. Yes. Lakis smiled. He likes an extravagant entrance, huh? Can't he arrive normally? Eleanor appeared at Sienna's side. Oh. I thought you were gone. Lakis asked. I had some matters to settle with Sienna, and I need to talk to that man. Suddenly Eleanor heard Victor's voice behind her. I have a name, you know. Eleanor jumped back, her heart beating too fast. Don't do that. It scared me. Oh. Victor exhibited a small smile. He didn't expect this reaction from her. Ugh, Victor. You reek of wild animal. Pepper put a hand to her nose. Yeah, I was fighting a gorilla in Eastern Territory. Oh, those 4-meter monkeys? Eleanor asked. Wrong, the biggest ones. Eleanor. What? Lakis. Fue. Pepper. Huh. Sienna, the 4 women thought they heard something wrong. Kaguya suddenly stepped out of Victor's shadow, the 4 women looking to the maid for answers. Yes, he fought a demonic gorilla, the one who protects that strange tree in the forbidden forest. Who? You're crazy. Lakis said. Ha 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 ha, thanks for the compliment. Victor scratched his head, a little embarrassed. That wasn't a compliment. What was on your mind, fighting that beast? Well, it was fun. Why not? Victor displayed a sincere smile. Why you? Sigh. You're incorrigible. Lakis gave up. And? How was the fight? Pepper looked more animated than usual. I want to hear too, that gorilla is a very famous beast. Few vampires were able to fight him and survive, and those who survived had quite severe mental trauma. Sienna spoke with curiosity. She even remembers that in the past, her mother fought the gorilla, but Scathach refused to give any information to her daughters. She was very curious about this matter. Victor looked at Sienna with a strange look. What? Did you eat something bad, woman? He didn't understand why she was acting so docile with him. Wasn't she the woman who kept saying he was just cattle? A vein popped in Sienna's head, you know what? Never mind. Humph. She turned her face away and walked towards a spot. What was that Sundra reaction? Did she eat something bad? Even Pepper doubted her older sister, coming out of her initial stupor. You came at a good time, I need to talk to you. Eleanor suddenly spoke, and her voice caught everyone's attention, even Sienna, who was leaving. Victor looked at the woman who was almost the same height as him with curious eyes. Eleanor puts her hand on her chest and makes a noble gesture. Victor Walker. I, Countess Eleanor Adrastea, invite you to come to my territory as a special guest. Oh. Okay, I will. Eleanor and Sienna were surprised at how easily Victor accepted it. Edited by, is unavailable. If you want to support me so that I can pay artists to illustrate the characters in my novel, visit my Patreon. patreon.com/victorweissman. More characters images in ./4 like it? Add to library. Don't forget to vote to support the book if you like it. Chapter 98, An Invitation from a Countess. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wait. Victor, do you understand what it means to visit her territory? Sienna squealed and quickly approached Victor. I will pay a visit. Victor tilted his head as if he didn't understand the problem. Idiot. You don't understand anything. Come here. Sienna takes Victor's hand and suddenly pulls him aside. Lakis, Pepper, Kaguya, and even Eleanor looked at this situation strangely. She definitely ate something bad. Pepper nodded, maybe she's interested in Victor now after seeing him fight those two heirs. The three women looked at Pepper, and when they saw Pepper displaying a smug face like she discovered a grand scheme, they just rolled their eyes. Outside the mansion, Sienna let go of Victor's hand and pulled away, then she started talking to Victor. First, do you understand who Eleanor is? Is she a countess? Yes. And if she's a countess, she has territory. And what's wrong? The problem is that her territory is not normal. Oh. Explain to me. Victor was interested. Sienna felt a little uncomfortable when she saw his smile. Do you remember the gorilla you fought? Big guy. Yes, what about him? Big guy. Huh. Sienna didn't understand, but she didn't think too much, she was slowly getting used to Victor's oddities. He's a demonic beast, and Eleanor's territory is infested with these beasts, and by inviting you as a special guest, she's basically asking you to fight with her against these beasts. Victor's smile grew. That's good news, isn't it? Fuck. I forgot about your personality. Sienna does a facepalm. Victor looked at Sienna for a few seconds. It was like he was thinking deeply about something, his eyes sparkled a little with interest, and he said. Are you hiding something? Sigh, she sighed. I can't say anything, you remember, right? I'm silenced by the magical contract, so only my mother can tell you that. Victor started to think again. I remember she spoke vaguely about it when I was playing with Eleanor's sword. Oh. But your wife Violet may know something, and she's not bound by the contract. She remembers hearing this from Violet in the past. I will ask my wife then. Victor turned and started walking towards the mansion. Will you go anyway? Sienna asked. Of course, an environment full of demonic beasts, exotic animals that I've never seen in my life. That is very welcome for me. Victor had a big smile on his face as if he had found a new toy to play with. Of course you would. She felt like she asked a pointless question. But I won't go now. His expression suddenly changed to neutral. Oh. Sienna looked at Victor. Victor turned his face and looked at Sienna as he displayed a gentle smile. I'll go spend time with my wives first. Oh. Sienna somehow thought Ruby was very lucky to have a husband who cares for her, which is something very hard to find in the vampire community. I also want to visit my mom, dad, and my friends. I'm missing them. It's been 6 long months. I want to see my cat. For some reason, Sienna thought that the real reason Victor wanted to come back was because of the cat. Then, suddenly, she realized something. You will rest? Sienna looked at Victor strangely. Is he really Victor? Where is that man who loves to fight? Is he an imposter? Of course not, I'll still fight and train, but I'll just spend time with my family. A lot has happened in a short time, and I haven't had time to appreciate these simple moments. I want to take the next step in my relationship with my wives too. Oh. She flashed a small smile. That's a good reason. Indeed. Victor laughed. Victor went back to the mansion again along with Sienna and looked at Eleanor. Before making any decision, is this invitation just for me, or is it for my wives too? It's for your wives too, Eleanor spoke after thinking for a moment. I see. In this case, it's okay with me. I will also ask my wives to see if they want to go with me. Eleanor exhibited a small smile. Okay. The invitation period is 3 months. I expect good news from you. Finishing what she had to do, she walked towards the exit. When she left Skathaka's mansion, Walter and Chloe were already waiting for her. He accepted? Walter asked. Yes, but he's not going now. He will also ask his wives if they will want to go along with him. Lady Eleanor invited the wives too. Walter made a strange face. This was not what they agreed on earlier. After seeing Victor's performance in the arena, she decided that it would be advantageous to bring Victor to her territory to help her with a small problem. Eleanor initially wanted her master's help, but Skathak refused. She said it wasn't her problem. Yet, because of that, Eleanor decided to ask Victor for help, especially after seeing his fight against those heirs and see how easily he dominated his opponents. She thought he would be a good help in her territory. I thought if I didn't extend the invitation to his wives, he wouldn't accept it, but it looks like I was wrong. It's too late now. I can't go back on my word. I hope they're not dead weight. It's hard to know. The 3 women are daughters of vampire counts, and they have great potential. Especially Ruby, who is my master's blood daughter. Despite looking innocent and inexperienced, Ruby hides great potential, and that was her true thoughts about Ruby. How much time did you give them to make a decision? 3 months. I think in 3 months, they will be stronger. Walter said, like an old man, he understands what influences can do in a person's life, and he thinks that when girls see Victor much stronger than before, they will want to get stronger too, and in a way, he was correct. Yes. Eleanor nodded, and soon she climbed on top of Chloe. Iriri, Rillanchin. Chloe didn't look happy. Eleanor looked at Chloe with a shocked look, feeling her master's gaze. Chloe just turns her face to a random place. She didn't want to be ungrateful to her master, but she was very honest with her feelings. She didn't like it when Eleanor climbed on top of her, but as an ancient friend, Chloe will allow her to ride her. She doesn't seem to like you riding her, Walter commented. A vein popped in Eleanor's head. She flashed a dangerous smile. That bastard, he stole my horse. He'll pay for it. I'll look forward to the day he comes to visit my territory. When Eleanor left the mansion, a conversation was taking place with Victor and the women. Speaking of my wives, where are they? They are still in the room, Lakis replied. They are being very lazy. Pepper commented in a cute voice. Sienna, Lakis, Kaguyas, and Victor looked at Pepper with a dry look. Phew. She really didn't realize what she said, huh? Indeed. Lakis nodded in agreement with her older sister. What's it? Spit it out. Stop talking in codes. We are shocked that you are commenting that my wives are being lazy when you are lazier than they are. Victor was honest. Pepper looked at the group again and saw them nodding in agreement with Victor's words. Ugh hi. She made strange sounds while her cheeks puffed like a squirrel, and then she said. I'm not lazy. Initially, she was going to scream, but slowly her voice wore off, and in the end, she just mumbled under her breath since she herself had realized she was lazy. It's okay. You can be lazy. Victor chuckled a little as he patted Pepper's head. Pepper felt her body tremble when she felt Victor's caresses. She felt good. She looked at him and said. Victor. She looked like she was looking at a great ally. But don't overdo it, or your mother will kidnap you and take you to train. Pepper's body shook for a different reason now. I won't, I promise. Her eyes seemed to be glowing with motivation. She didn't want to go back to training. Her mother's training is just inhumane. Not that she was human, but even for a vampire, that training was difficult. Fear can often be a good tool. Where's Yuki? Kaguya asked in a neutral voice. Oh, she woke up a few hours ago, and when she woke up, Violet suddenly showed up and kidnapped her. So now she's helping the girls with something. Sienna replied. So she's not being completely useless. Good. Kaguya nodded in satisfaction. Well, the conversation was good, girls. But I must go take a shower. Victor spoke. That's a good idea, you stink. Pepper put a hand to her nose. You're right. But Victor sniffed the air a little. You stink too. Eh. Pepper made a shocked face. Lakis and Sienna were speechless when they heard Victor's words. Master, Kaguya did a facepalm. This is not something to say to a girl. Pepper sniffed her body and realized that Victor was right. I will take a shower. Pepper suddenly turned around. Umu, I'll go too. Victor followed Pepper. Let's go. Pepper raised her hands up, screaming. It was like they were going on a big adventure. When Victor and Pepper disappeared from view by Kaguya, Lakis, and Sienna, the girls suddenly realized something. Did they just go together now? Lakis commented in disbelief. This is inappropriate. He is a married man. I must stop them. Sienna was freaking out, so she quickly ran towards the bathroom to stop them. They must have a little decency. Wait. I will go too. Lakis' eyes sparkled in amusement. When the two left, and Kaguya was alone, the maid said. It surprises me that my master casually went into the bathroom with Pepper, and he didn't even notice it. And being the airhead that Pepper is, she didn't notice either. Sigh, edited by, is unavailable. The voting to decide the first art of the novel is almost over. If you want to help me, and vote for the first art of the novel, visit my Patreon, patreon.com/victorweissman. More characters images in, /4fetzf, like it? Add to library. Don't forget to vote to support the book if you like it. Chapter 99, The Four Clans of Vampire Counts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yes, indeed. They're called many names: vampire counts, the pillars of vampire society, the king's trusted families, super vampires. They have many names that the masses give them, but they are better known as the four clans of vampire counts. Being only one rank below the king, they are an essential part of vampire society, and, being an essential part of vampire society, they have important duties that are divided into four main subjects: military defense, war, economic affairs, and domestic affairs. The Adrastea clan, located in the west, is responsible for military defense. They are the king's shield. They are a strong warrior clan specializing in the art of warfare. Despite holding an important position like this, their clan is located in a very remote area, and they are very far from the royal capital. Few know why this clan is so far removed from civilization, but as part of the four counts, they are highly respected by the entire vampire community. The Scarlet clan is located in the north, a region with a cooler climate and an abundance of trees. Just like the clan Adrastea, Clan Scarlet lives in a very isolated area from society, and the Countess does not have a capital that she takes care of. The reason for this is Countess Scathach Scarlet herself, possessor of the title of being the strongest female vampire. She single-handedly supports an entire vampire count clan. She doesn't need many subordinates, she doesn't need a city to manage, she just needs herself. Clan Scarlet is responsible for matters of war. If Clan Adrastea is the king's shield, Clan Scarlet is the king's spear. In cases of emergency, such as a possible enemy invasion, it is Scathach Scarlet who must assume the role of general and lead a counterattack. East of Nightingale, a milder place, and in what always seems to be autumn, there is a city that is managed by the Horseman clan. This is where products like blood crystals are created and sold to all vampires. Previously, this territory belonged to Clan Fulgur, but due to Clan Fulgur's recent defeat by Clan Horseman, all authority in this city has been passed to the Horseman clan, responsible for the domestic affairs of the vampire world. The Clan Horseman is behind all the food in this world. In the south, a more tropical place with slightly warmer climates and plenty of beaches is where the Snow clan resides. Clan Snow is responsible for the economic affairs of the entire vampire world. It is they who trade/control the entire economy of the vampire world, and it is they who support small noble families. To grow, without Clan Snow's permission, you can't do business in the vampire world, and you don't want to stand against this family. Possessing the rare power of fire control, they can burn any disobedient vampire to ashes, and they are also the only vampire clan that can walk peacefully in the sunlight, and because of that very special characteristic, they are also involved in international politics. They are the ones who trade and come into contact with other races and the vampire community who live in the world of humans when the situation is needed. After all, for vampires who live in the human world, Nightingale is heaven on earth for them. Despite having so many powers in the vampire world, vampire count clans cannot make major decisions without the direct approval of the king, like it or not. They are servants of the king, and few dare openly challenge the king's sovereignty, the only being wrong. The only woman mad enough to do this is Scat-Hack Scarlet, and despite openly challenging his sovereignty several times, the king does nothing. Why? Scat-Hack Scarlet is just that important. Her knowledge, her experience, and especially her power can greatly help vampire society as a whole. And this woman was having a very interesting meeting now. In a mansion located slightly in the center of Nightingale's territory, a meeting was taking place. "Where is my son-in-law?" that a woman wearing a rather noble white dress spoke. She had pale skin like all vampires, long blonde hair, and blue eyes. She looked very much like her sister Victoria Ryder. This woman's name was Anastasia Fulger, the birth mother of Sasha Fulger and former holder of the title of Vampire Count. "Bitch, what are you doing here? Why don't you go back to your husbands? Your hole must be feeling lonely right now," said a woman wearing spandex pants, a black shirt with an animal coat, and small black glasses on her face. She has long white hair and golden eyes. She is Agnes Snow, the birth mother of Violet Snow. "Oh." The woman flashed a small smile, "But if I'm going back to my husband's, I'm going to bring your husband along with me too. The poor bastard must be bored with just having you as a wife." "Bitch." Agnes' golden eyes seemed to be glowing brightly. The room around her started to get warmer. He, so easy. Anastasia thought. She knew how to deal with Agnes. After all, this woman had a sick obsession with her husband, and if she just mentions her husband's name a few times, she'll be pissed off. The room suddenly got colder, and Agnes flashed a small smile. "Airport chest." "Ha!" A vein popped in Anastasia's head. "Isn't it? With your attractiveness, you could never conquer a man, and, because of that, you have to kidnap them. After all, you don't have confidence in your own appearance." Agnes wrapped her arm around her chest like she was showing off how big she was. "Ha! At least I'm not a dairy cow who has insecurities with her relationship." "Because you are afraid, right? You're afraid your precious darling will be stolen by other women." "Who?" A vein popped in Agnes' head. Ha ha ha. Hearing a familiar chuckle, the two women looked at the woman who was sitting on an ice throne elegantly. "You guys never change, huh?" Scat-Hack wore a mocking little smile. "Humph." The two snorted and turned away. "How long do you think it will take them to fight again, William?" A white-haired, violet-eyed man wearing a white suit asked the man beside him. The two of them were sitting on a sofa a little way from the three women. "Hard to say, considering Natasha and Agnes are like cat and dog." The man replied. He had short blonde hair and green eyes and was wearing a medieval nobleman's garb. This man's name is William Salvatore Florence. He is Anastasia's first husband, and he is also Sasha Fulger's biological father, and Natasha was what he called his wife since her name was too long. "Indeed." "Adonis, Violet's father," agreed. William looked at Adonis out of the corner of his eye. "Has he become more beautiful?" Adonis ignored William's gaze and looked at Scat-Hack. "She's still beautiful as ever." He flashed a gentle little smile. He felt very grateful for Scat-Hack because it was this woman who saved him from a very precarious situation in the past. "Darling." Agnes suddenly looks at Adonis with a dangerous look. "What is it, honey?" He continued to smile with the same gentle smile. Like a war veteran, he knew very well how to treat a woman, especially the crazy ones like Agnes. Agnes continued looking at Adonis for some time. Seeing that his smile was going to her, she felt satisfied but was still suspicious. Nothing. Agnes' instincts were on high alert. she knows that Adonis feels something for Scathach. Considering, the suspension bridge effect must have been activated when he was saved by this crazy woman in the past, and because of that, she didn't let her guard down. TSK, I didn't want to bring my darling to this place. Agnes grumbled. Where is my son-in-law? Anastasia asked again. Scathach looked at Anastasia with a neutral gaze. Natasha, do you intend to take back your title of vampire count? Huh? Natasha didn't understand Scathach's question, she just wanted to know about her son-in-law. Answer my question. Natasha continued looking at Scathach for a few seconds, then she replied. I'll take it back in the future. She made a confirming sound, she seemed to be thinking of something. Satisfied? Now, where is my son-in-law? Her eyes sparkled with curiosity. She saw Victor's performance in the arena, and the way he used her clan's lightning power, the way he dominated his opponent, made her very curious. Not to mention that man has the powers of the 3 clans. Why did my beloved daughter hide him from me? Natasha asked herself. She totally forgot about Tatsuya, her sister's son. That's something I want to know too. Who would have thought that boy would become that? Agnes' eyes were similar to Natasha's, and they were sparkling with curiosity. Initially, she had no interest in Violet's new toy, but seeing this man in action totally stunned her. A vampire who can use all 3 powers. And perfectly. Her curiosity was running wild, she wanted to know more about him. Scathach rests her head in her hand and looks at the 2 women with a bored face. I'm feeling this is going to end badly. Adonis muttered. William, who heard the words of Adonis internally, began to prepare himself to flee at any time from this place as quickly as possible. He didn't want to be caught in the crossfire of these crazy women. Even though one of these crazy women was his wife, he didn't want to get in the middle of a possible fight between these women. Although he is sure that in the end, Scathach would win the fight, it's not that he doesn't trust his wife, it's just that he can't imagine Scathach losing a fight. That woman is just on another level. Scathach held up a finger. First, he is not your son-in-law. He is mine. Only mine. That edited by, is unavailable. If you want to support me so that I can pay artists to illustrate the characters in my novel, visit my Patreon, patreon.com/VictorWeissman. More characters images in /4FETZAF, like it. Add to library. Don't forget to vote to support the book if you like it. Chapter 100, The 4 Clans of Vampire Counts. 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Scathach held up a finger. First, he is not your son-in-law. He is mine. Only mine. What nonsense is this woman talking about? Has she become senile? If that man is married to our daughters, he's our son-in-law too. Adonis and William will open their mouths in shock. Did this woman just get jealous? In the eyes of the 2 men, Scathach's act of declaring her son-in-law as her own was clearly an act of jealousy. He's a lucky man. William's eyes sparkled for a few seconds when he realized that someone had managed to win Scathach's affections, and it wasn't just anyone, it was a man. Adonis didn't say anything, but inwardly, he agreed with William's words. Second, he's at my house now. That should be obvious. She spoke with a face of disdain. Natasha nodded and seemed to think for a few seconds. I want permission to visit your territory. You want? Scathach raised her eyebrow when she heard Natasha's tone of command. She didn't like it at all, and her eyes began to slowly change to blood red. Fuck. When Natasha realized what she said, it was too late. Bloody pressure left Scathach's body. Natasha's whole body felt heavy, she felt difficulty breathing, a feeling of fear covered her body. Has she gotten stronger? She clearly remembers that she wasn't so strong back then. The same was happening with Agnes, who got caught in the crossfire, she couldn't move. You two seem to misunderstand something. Scathach's voice sent shivers down both women's spines. Crack, crack. Her pressure was so intense that the walls, furniture, and everything around it started to break. I don't give a damn if my disciple is your son-in-law. To me, you don't mean anything. I just came here because, even though I don't care about it, my disciple is married to your daughters, and mine. Suddenly the pressure coming from her body disappeared. An uncomfortable silence descended over the place. Skathaka's eyes returned to normal, and another shock hit the room. Why your eyes? Adonis stammered as he pointed at Skathak. When everyone heard Adonis' voice, they also looked into Skathaka's eyes, and only now did they notice that her eyes were no longer blood red like she was bloodthirsty. Skathak turns her face and looks at Adonis. Oh, you are here. I didn't notice. Adonis was speechless, but it wasn't because Skathak didn't realize his existence. That was normal for him. Instead, he was speechless because she managed to solve her bloodlust problem, and if she managed to solve her problem, that means she found someone to replace the husband she killed. He knows that Skathaka's male standards were very high, and her standards are so unattainable that he doubts there is a man that one day could completely satisfy the requirements to be with the strongest female vampire. How did you solve your problem? He was quite curious now. Just who is this man she married? That is none of your business, Skathak said. He was speechless again. Wasn't she colder than usual? Why is her mood so bad today? Darling? Agnes raised an eyebrow. Aren't you curious? He looked at Agnes and totally ignored his wife's gaze. I am, but... Agnes nodded, then added. It's none of our business. Ha ha ha, glad you understand. Skathak flashed a cold smile. The group won't lie and say they weren't curious, but they don't want to provoke Skathaka's ire for something small like this, as much as they are curious. Dying of curiosity. Agnes and Natasha were a little shocked internally by something else too. Without them noticing, Skathak got stronger again. It's been some time since the two women met with Skathak, and they clearly remember she wasn't as strong as she is now. If their memory serves, the last time they spoke to Skathak was when Ruby was kidnapped in the past, and, at the time, Ruby was 3 years old, and currently Ruby is 21, which means, this monster just got stronger in just 18 years. This is impossible. The strength of an older vampire doesn't grow that fast. Something must have happened. Stopping to think, Violet also had a sudden increase in strength. Agnes' eyes sparkled a little. Maybe it's my son-in-law's fault. She unknowingly spoke aloud. Skathaka's smile broke, and she looked coldly at Agnes. Agnes felt uncomfortable when she saw Skathaka's face, and she quickly changed the subject. Skathak, I ask your permission to visit your house. I want to see my daughter's new husband. Skathaka's eyes became more neutral, and then she said, okay, I give permission. Was it that easy? And what was that whole show a few minutes ago? Agnes was speechless. Agnes thinks for a moment, and then she understands. Oh, it's been a few years, and I've already forgotten how to treat this woman. Skathaka's temper was very different from what she remembered. She is calmer. Normally, she was very intense, and because of that, she forgot the basics of how to treat Skathak. This is something all vampires should know when encountering Skathak. Be humble, or you'll get your ass kicked by her. Agnes had completely forgotten about that. The same happened with Natasha. Skathak, can I visit my daughter and her new husband? Skathak looked at Natasha. Yeah, of course, you can. A smile threatened to break out of Natasha's neutral face, but she held back. But before that... Luna. Skathaka's voice echoed through the mansion. Yesh, suddenly, a white-haired Russian maid appeared. Were you sleeping? I was not. Wipe your mouth first. You're drooling. Skathak rolled her eyes. Luna quickly wipes her mouth and looks to Skathak for any order from her. Deliver the contracts to these guests. She pointed to Agnes and Natasha. Yes. Luna disappeared, and a few seconds later, she returned with several golden contracts in hand. And us? The men asked. Skathak just waves a hand for Luna to hand over the contract to them too. Right after that, Skathak totally ignored the two men since, in her view, the two men weren't worth her time. the white-haired man was only good for being handsome, and the other man had the same purpose as the first man, but unlike the first man who tries to be useful, the other is just a waste of air, and to make her mood even worse, which is bad since she knows that today is Victor's date with Violet. The two men reek of talentlessness. She spent so much time with Victor that she completely forgot that other men aren't like him. What is it? Coming out of her thoughts, Scathach looks at Agnes. Are you blind? Or are you illiterate? Okay, her mood isn't good today. Just what happened to her mood? It's so dark. Agnes thought. Why this contract? I just want to see my daughter's husband. Natasha spoke. TSK. Scathach clicked her tongue with visible annoyance. Listen. The contract is simple. You must sign and keep all the information you learn from my disciple to yourself, and if this contract is broken, I will know. Her eyes glittered dangerously. And I will pay you a visit. Agnes' eyes flashed in annoyance. Scathach. Are you threatening me? Yes, you're strong, but you can't fight alone. She was going to keep saying that Scathach couldn't fight alone with an entire clan of vampire counts, but she couldn't continue her words. Agnes Scathach's voice came out in a demonic tone that left Agnes completely paralyzed. Don't make my mood worse. Or I promise you, the next words you say will be your death sentence. Everyone felt a chill rising in their spines, their bodies froze, they couldn't move, they swallowed their saliva. In front of her, they just looked like scared children. Was she that angry? They could see that she was being very serious this time, and they knew that if they teased her any further, she would do what she promised. Master. Luna felt her master go back to what she was before she met Victor. Slowly, the pressure coming off of Scathach's body began to fade, and as she spoke, she clearly wasn't in the mood for more bullshit today. The contract is simple. Shut the fuck up about my disciple. I don't want to hear any leaked information about him. By doing that, you can see my son-in-law. It's simple, right? That she is very overprotective. That's what everyone thought. It is common knowledge that it is quite difficult to find information about the clan of Scathach, and why. It's just that the woman herself is very overprotective with her daughters. She hides any kind of information about her daughters from the public, and the Ruby incident made her very paranoid, and everyone in this room knows she only gives her daughters that kind of treatment. After all, they signed a similar contract when their clan heirs began to bond with Ruby. They also understand that Scathach would not allow her daughter to marry someone useless or talentless, and when they remembered Victor's fight, they understood that he screamed potential. The curiosity of the vampires present was once again piqued. Just who is this man who managed to cause such a strong reaction in this crazy woman? They needed to know. They needed to meet this man. After a moment of silence, the group signed the contract since they were just too curious to step back now. Good. Scathach flashed a small, cold smile when she saw the group signing the contract. Edited by, is unavailable. If you want to support me so that I can pay artists to illustrate the characters in my novel, visit my Patreon, patreon.com/victorweissman. More characters images in, /4fetzaf, like it? Add to library. Don't forget to vote to support the book if you like it.